So first of all, give me your name, please.
Sandra Welch,
And you are connected with the...
National Science Foundation. I am a program officer there.
That's extraordinary. So is this your first time visiting the CSL program here in Arizona?
It is.
What have you experienced?
Well, it's really been exciting and really amazing to see these kids, even some quite young, come into a situation like this, stand up and start talking about STEM, what it means, why they're excited about it, and very articulate about the role they are playing in their local schools. It's a unique program. It's highly innovative. There are a lot of STEM camps and programs around the country, but this one is taking a unique approach that I don't think has really been tested before or implemented to this extent. And my day and a half here has really been exciting because I think this program is having a big impact on these kids, not just now, but I think that there's potential for long-term impact on these kids.
Now, I presume that through your day and a half with us, that you've got to observe our students, their passion, but you've got to see diversity of students and diversity of ideas. How have those impressed you?
Well, I have seen and I've talked to a lot of the kids, and I've talked to a number of the mentors as well. First of all, the kids one-on-one are even more articulate about why they're interested in being a part of this and being a CSO. The other thing that is amazing is that I have seen kids of every color, every cultural background. I have seen the mentors, also a full range, and they're all together in this room, learning from each other, listening to each other, and that in and of itself is a tremendous start to broadening these kids' understanding of what a potential STEM career might be and a look at who the people are that they might be working with in the future, and more likely will be working with in the future. So that's an impact in and of itself.
As in Arizona, the job for technology have outpaced the growth. And I would perceive that you're seeing the future, and we always talk about the futures as our children, but future leaders in our new community, our new culture of STEM, I refer to it as a culture of STEM. How do you feel about these young men and women looking to the future as leaders?
Well, clearly what I saw in the program was a big emphasis on leadership, and then that gets specific with these kids because people from a variety of different businesses and industry come in and talk about the jobs they have, which you can see the look on some of these kids' faces. Well, what does that have to do with STEM? And then these individuals start to explain what kind of basic knowledge they needed in order to do the work that they're doing. And then they talk about our company is looking for people with these skills and we can't find them, but if you are interested in this, get your bead set on studying in this area because there are jobs now, there are going to be more jobs later. And that, is the kind of direction that this program is helping these kids to develop.
Now, you're from Washington, am I correct? What role do you have in your role in Washington?
The National Science Foundation is an independent federal agency that was created now 50 years ago to fund basic scientific research and STEM-related education to help the economic development and prosperity of the country. So all we do is we invite people to send us proposals, both basic scientific research proposals, but I work in the education directorate, and we invite people to send in proposals related to educating youth and adults to help them better understand the world of science, technology, and engineering. So my job is to receive a certain number of those proposals every year. I read them, but then I get people from all over the country that have expertise, primarily in education, to come in and sit on a panel and read these proposals, discuss them, and then write extensive reviews and rate them. I take that input and determine which ones rise to the top. We get so many, we can't start to fund them all. We only fund about 10 to 15% of the proposals we receive. But the Chief Science Officer proposal came to us. I managed it. It was on my panel. It got extremely high comments and remarks from some of the top experts in the field. I recommended it. Then it went through a whole chain of people in my division who had to read my recommendation, and eventually it got funded. So if you get a project funded by the National Science Foundation, most people understand it's really at the top of the heap in terms of its innovation, its plan for management, its potential for significant impact. So this project, the CSO project, is in that very top tier that got the NSF funding and the logo that goes on the NSF. So it's something that is pretty rare to get, and I think it signals to a lot of people this project is one that must be really, has a great potential for working.
In closing, when you go back, what are you going to share with your colleagues?
I think, and I will have an opportunity to do this, we meet about once a month and we just give report outs on projects we have visited. So I think, the thing I want to say to them is that this project is bringing together kids. Now, obviously, I don't know their exact economic status, but I know from the statistics the project is gathering, a lot of them are from low-income homes. They're in schools where most of the kids are on free lunch. And these kids, none of that matters. They're excited about STEM, and they can tell you what that means, and they can tell you who they've talked to, what kind of jobs they've heard about, what kind of interests they have. There's no question. I'm going to share with my colleagues, I was so excited when I saw this. Also, NSF has a major emphasis on what we call broadening participation in STEM. Currently, the statistics are pretty dismal in terms of the number of Hispanics, African Americans, Native Americans that are in the STEM career field. The numbers aren't there. Also, women. There are virtually no women in physics, for example. And I can say this program is going to help change that, because it's exposing these children at a relatively early age to the potential and possibility for them to pursue a career in that area. And even if they don't directly go into that career pipeline in a traditional way, STEM is in every job in the world in some form or fashion. So these kids are going to really benefit from this program, and the country is going to benefit from having kids like this coming through our system, building on their interest and their own self-confidence that they can be a part of this big enterprise.
Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on what you've seen, sharing your funding to make this a reality, and sharing what you've learned about us when you go back to your colleagues. Thank you so much.
Thank you.